I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery, and today I wanted to talk about the question, how long after I've quit alcohol before I can sleep again properly. I've spoke about this before in a couple of videos, and for me, I knew I was gonna not have, I knew I was gonna have problems sleeping because I'd already gone through sort of a quit and a long-term quit about 5 years before, and for the first month, it was just that I had a bad time getting to sleep, on and off. So it was sort of that was in my head. So if I think now that like most other elements of quitting drinking, I think that sleeping and having problems with sleeping has a lot to do with what's going on in your head. And the reason for this is I'll explain a bit. When I stopped drinking this time, I was I went into bed knackered, tried to go to sleep, read a bit of my book, and sort of got tired. And then after a little while, I managed to sort of nod off, but I'd wake up straight away, wide awake again. And this sort of process would go on 10, 15 times, and eventually I'd sort of drop off for a bit and wake up. And it took me a while before I was able to go to sleep and stay asleep, so roughly about a month before I was able to do it. And that's on a decreasing scale, so by the end of the month, roughly speaking, I was over the worst of it, and I was able to get into bed at night. As soon as I sort of read for a little bit, I'd go to sleep and I'd stay asleep until the morning. But here's the thing. All the years that I drank, I didn't drink all the time. I was a constant drinker in that I drank sort of, there wasn't a week that went by most of the time when I didn't drink, and some of the times I would stop drinking for a day or 2 days or 3 days, and on those days that I did stop drinking, I'd have problems getting to sleep, but I would always sleep. It would take me a little bit longer to go to sleep. Now, what's the difference between a day when you're just not drinking, you've decided you're not going to drink today, or for 2 days or 3 days or whatever, and for whatever reason, and a day when you've just decided you're going to quit drinking for good? I mean, it's all in your head. There shouldn't be any big difference between the two things. It should be exactly the same thing. You're not drinking alcohol on the same night. You're not drinking alcohol whether you're not drinking alcohol for 2 days or whether you're not drinking alcohol for the rest of your life. You understand? So, that proves to me that a lot of this stuff is in your head. Think about this from your own perspective. Most people have gone through days when they just didn't drink. Even hardened alcoholics, even very heavy drinkers who need to be hospitalized, can go without drink. I mean, it's one of those things that you'll find with some organizations that are helping you to quit, and they'll say, well, alcoholism is a disease. It's a disease that where the person has no control over their alcohol consumption at all. And yet one of the first things that they'll say to you when you go into the hospital is that in order to stay in the hospital, that you have to stop drinking. So you have to have control over your drinking in order to stay there. But if you have a disease called alcoholism, which part of the disease is that you can't control your drinking, how can you all of a sudden control it? It just doesn't make sense. So I really think that it's when you do decide to quit for forever, you've got that playing on your mind. You've got that in your mind in the beginning that says, well, yeah, and that's it. It's a big psychological barrier then to get over. It's not just a day or 2 days, it's the rest of your life. And I've talked about this as well before. We don't live our lives like that, so there's no point in thinking like that. It's a moment by moment thing, and take it moment by moment, take it one night at a time. So what can you do to change there's not much that you can do in your head. This is a process. It's a process of changing your entire lifestyle. A lot of your lifestyle has got to change in order for you to get rid of the alcohol from your system. I mean, if you imagine that alcohol is like the hub of a wheel, and all of a sudden you take the hub out and you've got the spokes left, and you've just compromised the whole rim. The whole thing is all wobbly now, and you've got to put the hub back in, or a different hub. It's like taking a broken cog out of the machine. Once the cog's gone, the machine's not going to work. And it's a similar thing. You've got to have that cog in there, but it's just got to be replaced by something else. And there's plenty of books out there on getting to sleep, and regardless of whether you're not sleeping because you're not drinking anymore, or you're not sleeping because you're worried, it is the same processes. It is. You need to relax yourself. You need to get yourself into a frame of mind to go to sleep. And there's plenty of different techniques. And this is something that I'll do a lot more work on in the future, because it's it really is one of the biggest problems that people have when they're quitting. So if you have any questions about that, then leave a comment down below. Sign up for the newsletter over on the website, and I'll see you next time. My name's Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. Onwards and upwards.